welcome back to Blackstone. Our today's patient is Marilyn Wilson, an expecting mother and a ghost. But first, the game is currently suffering from two bugs. The cutscenes plays a slideshow instead of smooth 3D animations, and looping sounds briefly pause when they're supposed to loop. Both issues are annoying, however this game was released almost 20 years ago, and many people can't get it to run at all now, so I'll take what I can get. I tried a Windows XP virtual machine with QuickTime 3, it didn't work at all. This is running in 64-bit Windows 7 with no compatibility options enabled. It's a miracle. Anyway, let's start with the display case. There's something obviously missing here.
I don't have a clue what that is. Somebody must have moved it in here while I was sleeping.
Patients were allowed to keep personal possessions of special significance to them. This cigarette lighter was a gift of Marilyn Wilson's younger sister, Martha. Doctors sometimes allowed patients to keep items that reinforced their fantasies. According to her medical records, Marilyn Wilson spent hour after hour absorbed in this book of baby names, even though she wasn't pregnant.
Wasn't pregnant? She seems to think otherwise.
I've read it 100 times, but I've decided to name her Teresa. That's a good name for someone whose daddy is named Tommy. Sure, you can have it. No, wait. I'd like to look through it one more time. Do you like it? I picked it out myself.
Right, so Marilyn suffered from pseudocyesis, a psychosomatic disorder. Then depression and catatonia. She does come from a rich family, got a private room. Psychosomatic disorders cause changes in the bodily functions. It also says she wanted to be pregnant to get her friend back from the Korean War. Pseudocyesis comes with all the symptoms of pregnancy except for the fetus. Swollen stomach, labor pains, actually even the menstrual cycle can stop. And this also happens in other mammals. It doesn't say here, but the number of cases has dropped dramatically ever since the ultrasound imaging was introduced. Apparently the best cure is to show the woman there's no baby there, and some treatment to bring the hormones back in order. Depression, caused by a chemical imbalance in the brain. There wasn't much for it before the antidepressants. And finally, catatonic schizophrenia. The brain shuts off from all external stimuli. The patient becomes unable to take care of themselves. I suppose this puts the room in a slightly different light.
That old thing? Worthless. Forget it. That thing hasn't worked since I got here. The big one's Tommy and the little one's Teresa. I snuggle them every night. Hands off, mister. He's mine. I keep them closed at night, just in case someone is watching from the woods. Hey, don't do that. It's cold enough in here already. I know they're ugly, but that doesn't mean you can just rip them down. That's for the baby. I can't wait until she's born. Oh, no you don't. That stays right here until Teresa comes. You know, I do that sometimes. Mom and Dad let me bring it from home. Hey, I'm in enough trouble already. What are you looking for? Ghosts? Come on, leave that alone. I have to make that bed myself. Why do they make you wear those things? They look so goofy. Stealing from a pregnant woman? Some guy you are. It'll never fit. Not in a million years. That's me with my two sisters, Martha and Margaret. With me named Marilyn, that makes 3 M's. We call ourselves the Three Musketeers. That's Tommy with his army buddies in Korea. Isn't he cute? That's Mom and Dad. They're mad at me right now, but I think they'll change when they get to hold their new granddaughter. They're a gag gift from my girlfriend. No baby's feet could be that small. Besides, they're blue, and I'm going to have a girl. Graduating from high school was the happiest day of my life. With all the money my parents are spending, you'd think they could spring for more than just one lamp. That's my favorite desk. My parents let me bring it here from my bedroom at home. I used to do all my homework on it. Hi, thanks for coming to visit me. Have you seen my cigarette lighter?
Why? Is yours missing?
Yes, it was a present from my sister. You'd recognize it right away. It's shaped like a really neat dragon. I'd be really grateful if you could find it for me.
Tell me about the baby.
She'll be born real soon. I say she, although I really don't know yet. But I'm hoping for a girl.
Aren't you a little young to be having a baby?
Yeah, I know. My parents are furious. That's why they put me in here. But when Tommy gets back, we'll get married and then everything will be okay.
Is he any older than you?
Tommy Gardner. He's my fiancé. He'll be 19 in November.
Why isn't he around to help?
He's in Korea. That's his picture with his army buddies on the bulletin board.
A girl's diary. We have to take a peek. I won't post it in the thread, but I'll try to sum up the pages. She started writing after her admission. People scare their children with the asylum around here, but she hopes to write an article about the place when she's out. The nicest people are the inmates. The doctors appear rarely, the attendants run the show. Dr. Metcalf came to visit. He's got knickknacks and a nutcracker. Said he's going to treat her in the furnace room in the basement. Optimistic as ever, Marilyn.
The pages are stuck together.
He threw the book into the furnace and told her to learn the difference between fantasy and reality. Marilyn is no longer enjoying herself here. This day he is burning the baby blanket Marilyn has had since she was a baby herself. Parents don't talk to her, Tommy's in Korea, and her only visit was her sister who snuck away from the house with a dragon lighter. Marilyn realizes that her accommodation is actually a luxury and most inmates live in crowded wards. Last diary entry. Marilyn hopes that everything will be better once the baby is out and she can leave this place. I have a few questions.
Hello again.
But I'm still looking.
Thanks.
His name is Joshua. Have you seen him?
Sorry, no.
I've read that the doctors don't believe you're going to have a baby.
Don't be silly.
It's what the doctors call pseudocyesis.
Yes, but that doesn't apply to me. I'm really having a baby.
Maybe you just want to believe you're going to have a baby.
That's ridiculous. Why would I choose to make my parents mad at me and let them lock me up away from all my friends? Whoever told you that is lying.
Why did you start writing everything down?
It was more of a journal, actually. When I first got here, I wanted to write a story about the asylum. But then I got so excited about the baby that I haven't written in it for a long time. You can read it if you want.
You're a good writer.
Thanks. For a long time I wanted to be a reporter. But now I just want to stay home with the baby when she's born.
What's it really like to be here?
It's weird. There's this strange combination of being all alone, yet you're living in a building full of other people. The patients are mostly nice, actually. It's the attendants who act strange. Isn't that odd? But the thing I miss most is my privacy.
How can you feel alone with so many people around?
I miss my family. My parents told my sisters they can't visit, and Tommy is in Korea. The other patients here are nice, but I don't really know them.
You've got your own room. Isn't that private enough?
Well, first of all, everyone on the staff gets to look at all my records. I can understand that because they might need to know something about my medicine or something. But they go way beyond that. I think they want to make sure I'm not secretly talking with Tommy. Do you believe it? They even steam open my mail.
Steam open, you say?
Why do you say they act strangely?
Actually, it's both the doctors and the attendants. They act as if the people here aren't really people. They don't listen. They treat the patients like children. It's like as soon as someone is labeled crazy, they don't count anymore. But a lot of the inmates here aren't really all that nuts. Or even if they are, they still deserve respect. I'm sorry. I shouldn't go on like that. It just makes me angry is all.
2 of the diary pages seem to be stuck together. Can you tell me what's on the second page?
Sorry, I really don't remember.
Tell me about the medical treatments.
Mostly they take me down to the hydrotherapy room. I can always tell when they're taking me there because the attendant gets out that big gray key that opens the door. Right now, I don't remember anything about what happens in there. But that's okay. I'd rather think about the baby.
Now we know what the key to Hydra looks like.
Yes, Oliver?
Why did you take it?
Are you sure I took it? Are you certain it wasn't you? Perhaps the museum people simply haven't placed it there yet.
Where did you hide it?
Oh, Oliver, you forget my goal. I want you to explore the asylum, to rekindle your old memories. Even if I did take the lighter, I would scarcely tell you where it is.
Did she really have a baby?
Marilyn was a very sick girl. You must remember that when you speak with her.
Maybe you're just a figment of my imagination.
It hardly matters, does it? If you are making this up, you have certainly gone insane. Yet if I am a ghost, then your rational worldview has developed a few cracks. Quite a problem, isn't it?
There's a problem with your reasoning, Malcolm. We know that Oliver is insane. Both the book and the intro establish he's got at least a split personality. Let's check our lady's vital statistics. Deceased, suicide. Continued to believe she'd given birth even after the fourth pregnancy was over. The ghost doesn't seem to remember giving birth. Now, let's skip the transition animations all the way to the basement. You'll love this place.
They seem really solid.
Hello? My name is Jane. Who are you?
It's nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too, although the circumstances aren't very pleasant.
I wish I could check your last name for the computer. Well, everything looks nice and clean. Hydrotherapy, water treatment. It's still used, but more as a general therapy. Hydromassage, salt baths. Here we have cold tubs with heavy lids to maintain the temperature. Steam baths for relaxation and improved blood flow. Dry heat chamber for sweating your toxins out, also serving as a sensory deprivation tank. And this is about wet packs, cold cloth compresses. Also about wrapping people up in rubber sheets before dropping them into cold baths. All this sounds very creative, but not particularly enjoyable.
The wrist restraints were used to ensure the patients didn't harm themselves when in the tub or while using other equipment. Although they may have caused some discomfort, they were there for the good of the patients.
I hated them. They made me feel like a prisoner. Please leave them where they are. They've caused enough misery. We were really very sick. They were only trying to help.
Jet nozzles allowed therapists to stimulate specific body parts with a high-speed flow of water.
You take off your clothes and they shoot this water at you. It really stung. Especially if they just kept spraying in one spot. Nothing good could come from that. We scrub those walls every day, but you cannot scrub away the smell of fear. I used to stare up at that window for hours, wondering what was happening outside. It can't be opened, you know. You're trapped in here like the rest of us. We were supposed to put our personal belongings on the shelves while we were in Hydro, but sometimes they disappeared, so no one did. Epsom salts, but you had to bribe the attendants to use them. Those are massage oils, but I never heard of an inmate getting a massage. I think they stocked the shelves just for show. They wrapped us in those rubber sheets for hours at a time.
It's heavier than it looks.
Rubber always is.
Yes, Oliver?
Nothing new?
Please leave it on. The dark is so lonely. Once a week they made us clean out the drains. It was disgusting work. We called it the Hydra. They'd put you inside and put the lid on top so you couldn't get out. Then they'd fill it with ice water. After a while, you'd rather be dead than go back in there. Please don't. It brings back too many horrible memories. You'll never be able to lift that lid by yourself. Once it's locked down, there's no getting out. It's so heavy, it used to take 2 attendants to lift it. It's all very confusing. I don't know what everything does. They'd keep us in there for hours at a time, but it never seemed to help much.
We could use some steam right now.
Nothing's happening.
Well, shoot.
There was a secret code that they used to turn the machines on and off. They never let me see what it was.
Marilyn might know. She was treated here.
You can't imagine what it feels like to be locked up in there. It's dark, it's hot, and you can't get out.
Must be some trick to it.
Yes?
Were you sick?
I'm not sure. I became confused. I think life outside became too overwhelming for me. I believe they called it a nervous breakdown.
I mean, is it important to you in some way? Why can I talk to you when I'm looking at it?
I don't know. Except I have a deadly fear of being trapped inside. Maybe that's it.
What did you talk about?
Oh, yes. All we ever talked about was going home. It was the guiding star, the beacon ahead, the goal for which we existed. Home. We talked about it constantly, endlessly. Every day we woke up wondering if that day would be the day. Even a criminal knows when he's going to get out. But we were in prison with no release date, with only the hope of one day returning to our husbands and children.
What was it like?
It was harsh. I suppose there was something wrong with us, and they were only trying to help, but it was very difficult. I don't believe anyone outside really knows what happens in these institutions. I suppose they're better off not knowing.
What finally happened to you?
Oh, I finally got to go home. I don't remember much about that anymore. But I do know that it made me very, very happy. Those were for wet towels.
Well then, let's get back to the second floor. Maybe we can get her to remember a thing or two.
I remember now. They killed my baby. Then I killed myself. How can I be dead and still talking to you? I don't understand. Oh, hello.
What happened to Teresa?
They took her from me as soon as she was born. They wouldn't even let me hold her. And then they burned her.
Do you have any idea what happened to your cigarette lighter?
Dr. Metcalf took it. He did it to torment me because he knows it reminds me of my sister. I hate him. It's the only thing I have left. Please find it for me. Please?
Dr. Metcalf has kidnapped my son. Do you have any idea where he could be?
I'm sorry. We've both lost children to that man. I wish I could tell you not to worry, but I can't.
Your records say you were making this all up.
It's a lie. My family is trying to cover it all up so they won't be disgraced, and Dr. Metcalf is in on it. But my Teresa was born, and she was beautiful. And then he killed her.
Tell me about the treatments you received.
It was horrible. They acted like it was no big deal, but they never went through it.
They use them at spas. I thought they were supposed to be refreshing.
At a spa, you can get out when you want to. They locked us in those boxes for hours. First you get hot, then you get dizzy. Pretty soon you're delirious. And afterwards, you're so weak you can't even walk by yourself.
Was that bad, too?
First of all, it's dark in there. If you have claustrophobia, it's a nightmare. And second, you can't open it from the inside. If they forget you're in there, you could die. I know it happened more than once.
What were they used for?
They'd force us into the tubs and then strap heavy wooden lids over the top with a hole so only your head stuck out. Then they ran ice-cold water in the tub. The hydro, we called it. For the first half hour, you hurt all over. After that, you got numb. Then you went into shock. But in part of your head, you knew you still wanted to get out more than anything else in the world.
Do you know anything about that control panel next to the steam boxes?
The code was supposed to be secret, but that was a joke. They never changed it. All they ever did was flip the second and third switches from the top to on, and then everything would work.
Yes, Olive.
So was there a baby or wasn't there? No way to prove one way or another at this point.
Yes?
Switches 2 and 3.
I think there are monsters down here.
Freddy will scare away the monsters, Josh. Just like he always does. He's a good watchdog.
Open the box. Now to find the page that was stuck. This one. The furnace key has a big square head. And the book the doctor burned was your high school yearbook. Now onto the furnace, next door.
Can I help you, lad?
What are you doing here?
I'm just an old Irishman who left home looking for a better life. It's true I didn't starve, but I'm not sure I found what I was looking for.
What do you think of it?
'Tis a hard place, lad. And there's not much difference between the people inside and the ones outside who are walking around breathing God's fresh air. And if I were one of those people, free and easy and doing what I pleased, 'twould scare me senseless to know that.
Who keeps things running?
Oh, the new lad. The one they have here now. He's doing fine. They'll not be missing old Seamus O'Rourke.
Why don't you leave?
One day they'll come in and replace all this old machinery. Then it'll be time for me to move on. They're old and abandoned, just like me. Don't go poking your nose where it doesn't belong. There's nothing in there that concerns you. I could build anything I could. Whatever they needed around here, I used to make it myself, right at this bench. Ah, you'll go daft, lad, if you try to figure out where all those pipes go. Leave that to an old expert like me. Many's the hour I rested my old bones there. Get along with you. Find your own place to sit down. Leave that be. I like it there.
Fine. What's down that passage?
Ah, you'll go daft, lad. Hardly enough hot water to do the dishes. But Malcolm wouldn't permit me to put in more capacity. Cold showers are good for the patients, he used to say. Old reliable, that one. Not like that sow of a generator. Nasty business. That water is causing no end of mischief.
It's dripping from above.
Careful, man. If you touch that cage or anything on it, you'll get a shock the likes of which would light up all of Dublin. That's a new one, that is. You won't find a key for it on that big ring of yours.
We might need a key or a crowbar. But that water is dripping from the kitchen freezer. We'll need to fix it later before doing anything in this corner.
Empty. We shut down the oil burner years ago. That's me old lightweight motor oil. It's amazing how long machines will work for you. All you have to do is take care of them. Navel jelly. That'll take the rust off just about anything. I'm surprised at how little the light bulb has changed after all these years. 10 penny nails. Good for knocking together 2x4s. Different size washers. The plumbing in this building is atrocious. Navel jelly. It's just odd bits the new man found lying about and didn't want to throw away. Smart lad, that. Waste not, want not. It's just odd. It's a kind thought, but you've more important things to do than cleaning up around here. Get along with you now. Those'd be your number 3 fuses, industrial. We use them for most of the heavy equipment. Be careful with that now. Don't hurt yourself.
I wonder how this thing works. I should have paid more attention in shop class.
It's a fuse. It fuses when it's overloaded. That's it.
They certainly don't make them like that anymore.
Hot! It's bolted shut.
There's heat enough in there for all the hearths in Galway. It's not that easy, lad. You can't just douse a fire like that. You need to cut off the coal and shut down the dampers. Even then, it'd be a full day before it died down. It's an old coal burn.
Oops, skipped this one by accident.
Don't be daft, man. You'd lose your arm.
Perhaps you were never aware, Oliver, that some items carry evil within themselves. Merely picking up that dragon lighter, for example, has caused you to fall under its fiery spell. Marilyn Wilson burned herself to death with it. Martha Ward used it to burn her house down. Even now, it is propelling you towards some unknown but no doubt searing fate. I wonder, Oliver, will you be able to take the heat?
Oh great, not only is Oliver hallucinating, but he's also suicidal.
You're trapped!
Degrees. The patient suffers heat cramps from the loss of fluid in his muscles.
Better dead than red.
Speaking of dead,
Open the box!
this is a very simple puzzle.
The needle's going up!
But let's see how generous the timer is.
As the temperature rises, blood vessels near the surface of the skin dilate to increase heat loss. As the blood thickens, circulation becomes poor, the heart strains, and muscles fatigue.
The needle's in the red! You've got to get out of there! Hurry!
Yes, Oliver? (105°), heat exhaustion. The body's normal chemical reactions become impaired. As oxygen to the brain is reduced, the patient becomes dizzy and his breathing becomes labored. This is the level at which brain damage becomes a possibility.
That's 40 centigrade.
Quick, before it's too late! Do something!
(130°). More than 10 seconds at this level will cook the patient's brain and cause heat stroke. The tongue shrivels. Vision grows dim. Hearing deteriorates. Bloody cracks appear in the skin. And death follows shortly.
It's almost too late! Oh no!
I had thought you were made of sterner stuff, Oliver. Farewell.
We have everything we need to solve the problem, and the game is eager to help us. Let's do it again.
Perhaps you...
Overheat the sensor.
Very clever, Oliver. Well done.
Yes?
Yes, Oliver?
It's nothing to talk about, I see. How many of those cursed items were there? 6? How sick is Oliver? Records sealed. Great. We do have records, though. It's time to give the lighter back.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Don't mention it. Joshua is being held there. Can you help me find it?
I'm afraid I don't know too much about the asylum layout. I was only here a short time before I died. But the women down the hall might be able to help you, if you can get them to make sense. They're a little crazy. The key to the corridor door had a big W stamped on it. It's sure to be on your keyring, so you should be able to open it right up.
That key opens it right up.
You know, Marilyn got off easy with her treatment. I mean, burning an imaginary baby to resolve false pregnancy would have been considered fairly forward-thinking by the standards of their time. Some people had it much, much worse.
It's locked.
Again, only one new room for us.
Are there bad guys here, Dad?
Nope, no bad guys.
I love you, Dad.
I love you too, Josh.
You there. You're new. Did you bring my knitting needles?
Who are you?
I'm afraid not.
Well then, be off with you.
This looks posh and pompous. Oh, that is a huge chamber. Let's see what this lady's problem is next time. Although you might have guessed already by her attitude and the medieval tapestries here.